Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and this week I have the oil lines back for my 911 so I can finally fit up the oil cooler and get all that stuff buttoned up. Okay, so after a couple of weeks of messing around trying to get things to work, I had to get some oil lines made up to go from my hard oil lines to my oil cooler. Some of the issues that we came across along the way were, for starters, the original inlets for this oil cooler were really small and a much smaller diameter than the diameter of the hard lines. So it would have created quite a restriction in the line. So I had to get them tapped out and made larger. And then the other issue I found is that, at least in Australia, the size that are used on these hard lines is not a very common size. I had two options. I could either get the ends cut off and a new fitting welded onto the end of them, which I didn't really like considering how much I paid for these and they're a genuine Porsche part. So I got some adapters made up. I still only have one. The other one I had to send back because I wasn't happy, but this one has been made up. So this will fit onto the end of these hard lines and then connect up into my flex core oil lines, which can then attach to my oil cooler. So now I have the bits. Now I need to start fitting them up. All right, I'm pretty happy with all of this stuff, but before I can fit it, I need to flush it out. I need to make sure that it is perfectly clean. It has been cleaned, but I want to doubly make sure. So what I'm going to do now is pour in some degreaser and slosh it around a bit, and then I'll blast it through with the garden hose, same with these, and then I'll clean it out with diesel finally and let it dry. Alright, so a couple of weeks ago I made up one bracket, but obviously I had to go through then and make up two more. So now they're made up, I'll give them a quick coat of paint and then we can look at fitting the oil lines to the car. My next thing to have a look at is fitting this oil cooler. Now, I made these brackets up a while ago to fit the oil cooler, but the issue I've now found is that with the fittings on the back, they actually go in too deep and they're touching my my metal panels. Now, I could cut into my metal and re-weld it and paint it all again, but I think the alternative is probably going to be easier to mount it out further and see if I can cut into my my front bumper bar a bit further and move my little grille forward. If I've got enough movement there, I might be able to get away with just doing that rather than moving the whole shebang. So let's give it a go. So if my next job is to modify the position of the oil cooler, then I have to make sure that the front bar is mounted up correctly. To mount the front bar up correctly means I need to mount the front guards up correctly. And the issue I've been having is, ever since I put in this washer bottle, this front guard is sat up slightly, and I've realised it's actually due to the fact that I had this. So it comes down to the fact that I bolted the top of this washer bottle in with this bolt. I made this bracket up and bolted it in. The issue I'm now finding is that this bolt is actually touching the base of the headlight cup underneath the front guard, and it's interfering. So in order to save some space, this bracket bolts on this end, so it doesn't need to bolt on both spots. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grind this all back and then throw this bracket to this bracket, so hopefully save the space of the head of this this bolt and move forward on mounting up this front guard the way it's supposed to be. So I'm getting ready to mount these front guards up for the final time so that they're actually solid and left on the car. And one thing that some people brought up a while ago was that there's a rubber strip that goes between the body and these front guards just along this area here. And I haven't ordered them, I've forgotten about them, but what I've come up with is I got a little bit of my edge stripping that I had previously, and I've cut one side of it off. So now it's more of like an L shape, and I'm going to, at least for the time being, hot glue this along this area here so it's still removable, but it's reasonably solid, and that should hopefully keep me out of trouble for the time being. Alright, and another thing I need to do before I actually mount up the front guard finally is I need to connect up this filling tube to my washer bottle, because obviously, if you remember, I made the bucket for the fuel filler, so it's none of it's factory, and at the moment it's only got one hole in the bottom, which is for this. So I need to make another hole in the side of the fuel filler, which is where you fill the washer bottle up, and then I need to connect that washer bottle up to the hole somehow. And I've been racking my brain trying to work out how to do it. I don't have any metal tube that's sort of the right size or anything, but what I managed to find was this is actually the end of an old funnel I've got lying around, and I thought that is the perfect size to go in there with a bit of a hose clamp on it, cut it off, and have that end coming into the hole in the fuel filler bucket. And to cap it off, I actually took the old cap off of the original front guard, and it looks like if I trim this off, this should be about the right size to cap it off and be a nice neat little finish. So now I need to mark it and drill my hole into my guard and see if I can line it all up and get it the way I want it. Damn it! I don't know how well you can see this here under the camera, but I am extremely annoyed with myself. I had this front guard sitting up, and it was sitting on the headlight bucket inside, and it slipped off the headlight bucket and came down and hit up from underneath, and it has cracked all the paint all around through here. I'm extremely annoyed. Like everything, it can be fixed, but it means it's a lot of work to sand this all back and blend this in, and basically it means repainting this entire front guard to get it to blend it in nicely and get the paint right. And I really didn't want to have to do that sort of stuff. I was almost done, and it just... Oh! Ah! I'm really annoyed. I'm annoyed at myself for being so stupid. Sometimes I'm just too gung-ho for my own good, and I'm just sort of trying to get it done and rushing and just causing myself more work again. At this stage, it can stay like that. I'll deal with it later. I'm going to keep going and mount this up the way I was supposed to, and yeah, deal with that later. When I first put this all together, I had this latch in here spaced out of this area here with a bunch of washers, and that's where it needed to be so that it would actually latch and work. But what I've realised now is that now that I actually have the filler neck through there, it interferes. If I take the washers out and set it back further where it sits flush against here, it obviously doesn't latch. So what I'm thinking to actually get it to work is actually I need to make up a spacer on an angle to tilt it backwards like that, and I think that might give me the clearance at the bottom that I need and still latch at the top. So I need to make an angled washer. Okay, so there's my little tapered washer that I've made up, and I've given it a coat of rust-proof primer. So now let's see if this will help my installation. All right, I've got my fuel filler cap all lined up. Everything's in. This guard is all properly bolted on now. even though it's damaged. I'll have to paint it again. But the fuel filler, the cap's sitting a little low at this end because I still need to adjust it a bit more, but that's good enough for now, and it works the way it's supposed to. There we go. And what I'm going to add to it is I actually got the old fuel cover. Yeah, so I'll put this in, and that'll be the final little touch. So the other guard is now all on and bolted up. So before I can bolt up this guard, I have to put the oil lines on. So let's fit up some oil lines. So now I've got the oil lines fitted, and I'm actually quite happy. They're quite secure underneath the car. They're quite good. But here, they're quite loose. They're going to rattle if I left them like this. I'm not sure how they're normally attached, but what I'm thinking is I'm going to attach them probably to the body up here. There's actually a bolt up underneath here that looks like it's been stone guarded over, so I'm going to dig it out, and I'm going to attach it with a couple of these hose clips up to the bolt up here, so that should stop it from moving around from there. Let's secure up this end, and oil line should be good. Okay, the oil lines are all bolted up and quite nice and secure. And the next thing is that now I'm sitting this guard on, it's touching just here, so I just need to trim it back just a little bit. So let's trim it up so we can get it fitting just right. So with the bonnet and the guards on, I need to put this catch back in, this modified catch, and it's looking a bit ugly, and so is this one here, so I have to get out and paint both of them before I final it up. Alright, so the next place that I stuffed up, because there are so many, I mounted this front bar and got it all in the perfect spot, but I've never actually fitted this this bumper rubber. So I need to lower this bar down, but also I need to try and move it out slightly to try and fit this oil cooler. Thankfully now the lines actually fit in my recess, and everything is really close, but it all just fits. Now I need to mount the oil cooler up and then remake the mounts for the front bar so that everything sits exactly where it's supposed to. That was a lot of putting it on, taking it off, putting it on, putting some washers in maybe just to get things just right. Now I need to go through and bolt the front bar up to the front guards on the sides. You guessed it, back to my rib nuts. Before I take everything off, I'm happy where this rubber is mounted. So now I'm going to mark it out with this tape so I know where to glue it to when I take the bar off. Alright, that's the front end all bolted up, so it must mean it's time for fun facts with Mrs. Jeff.
Hi guys, did you know that the Porsche 936 was designed to be the successor to the 908 and the now outlawed 917? The open-top two-seat Spider was powered by a 2.2 litre turbocharged flat six, making around 540 horsepower. And its first year dominated the 1976 World Sports Car Championship, including Porsche's first win at Le Mans in a turbocharged car. The 936 went on to win Le Mans in 1977 and again in 1981 until it was superseded by the 956.
Hey guys, this week on Mail Time I've got a letter from California. Hello Jeff, enclosed is the promised patch from our regional Porsche Club of America chapter. Enjoy the weekly videos very much, and like you, I often take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Oh, I know that. Keep up the good work. Joe Kuntz, I think. Sorry if I get your name wrong, Joe. And inside he sent me a patch. Very cool. So this is going to go straight up And if you have anything you want to put up on my wall, please send it to Home Built by Jeff, PO Box 1520 Bowral, New South Wales 2576 Australia. Alright guys, done for another week, and of course I wrecked the paint in the car, which is just the most annoying thing I could have done because it's going to create so much work to fix it.
I'm surprised it didn't happen earlier.
So am I, actually.
Truly.
I think lots of people were surprised with how rough I am.
We've had a lot of accidents. Anyway.
But on a lighter note, I got everything bolted up. The whole front end is bolted on. The front bar is bolted on. The guards are bolted where they want to go. Everything is starting to be buttoned up, which is great. I managed to fit the oil cooler in. So, as always, if you want to help out the channel, please go down to the link in the description and you can get some shirts or hoodies. And if you enjoy the videos, please like and subscribe to Home Built by Jeff. And you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at the same place. See you guys.
Hey guys. In its first year, it dominated the world.